But you know what I learned by spending so much time with them? What I learned is something that we are going through, our generation, is we are living in a period of time in which things that are a part of our life is becoming stuff from the olden days, and it's happening before our very eyes. I first started to clue into this one day when I was cleaning out the beer fridge in the home office. And Thomas came down to the office. He's about 5 years old. You gotta have a beer fridge in the home office. And there's a 35 millimeter canister of film there in a box, yellow Kodak box. And he says to me, "What's that, Dad?" And I said, "Well, it's film." Nah. Because in his mind already, I'm an early adopter. I've had a digital camera since they've been out. And in his mind, it's the little flash memory card. That's film. I said, no, it's film, Thomas. I'll show you how it works. And I had to go dig out my 35 millimeter camera, and I showed him we were going to spool the film inside. And, stand there, I'm going to take a picture of you. So he went over there. I took a picture of him. Click. What do you think he did? He ran around to the back of the camera to see the picture. He wanted to see the picture right away. And I said, "It doesn't work like that, Thomas. Look, we're going to have to take 23 more pictures. Then we got to drive down to see the man by the candy store. And we got to wait an hour, so maybe we can get an ice cream." And he goes walking out of the office, and his older brother, 7 years old, says, "What were you doing with Dad?" His dad was showing me something from the olden days. Click. Right? And that really made me think, because here's something that was a part of my life until recently. And all of a sudden, to my son, to this next generation, it is something from the olden days. A few weeks later, I get up on a Saturday morning. What are we doing, when we're kids Saturday mornings? It's cartoon time. It's the one time when Mom and Dad will let you get up, and you go down and you watch cartoons for several hours. I get up one morning, I go down, Willie's on the couch, and he's looking kind of grumpy. And I said, "Willie, what's wrong?" And he looks at me, there's no data, Daddy. I said, "What?" He said, "There's no data, Daddy." He said, "Look," and he took the digital remote control. The electronic program guide, the grid that comes up that shows you what's on every single channel. There must have been some type of system glitch the night before in the cable network, because all the little boxes read, "No data." He did not know what to do to find a show to watch. Seriously. He did not know what to do. So I went to the front door, I got the Saturday morning paper, I dug out the TV guide, and I came marching in and said, "I'll show you how we did it in the olden days." Him and Thomas are going through this thing. Wow, people really use this? The list kept getting longer and longer. Cleaning out the basement one day, we found an 8-track tape player. We found a Sony Walkman. They found my LP records. They found my CDs. And all of these things have become to them things from the olden days, just like that. We're a skiing family. We were out skiing out Western Canada one time. And, when we were done at the end of the day, we went to a local grocery store. The lady in the line in front of us went to pay for her groceries with a check. And Thomas said, "What's she doing, Dad?" I said, "Well, she's writing a check." "What's that?" I said, "Well, she writes her name on it, she signs it and writes in an amount of money and the name of the store, and that lets her pay for this stuff." And he goes, "You mean I could take a piece of paper to the candy store and give it to the guy?" And it was fascinating. But again, to him, it was something from the olden days. Checks have disappeared. When have we ever lived in a period of time in which stuff which has been a part of our lives is disappearing at such a rapid rate? I had a Jeep at one point in time, four-wheel drive, stick shift, manual, and I'm driving along. And, Thomas says to me from the back seat at one point in time, "Daddy, why don't you drive with that joystick?" Think about it. Their entire perception of the world is different. You couldn't imagine the day we had the conversation about what we did in the world before we had TV remote controls. You actually got up off the couch, you walked over to the TV, you pressed some buttons, and you changed the channel.